Philippa Fabry. Welcome to the Show Your Superpower series. Conversations with engineers, entrepreneurs, creatives, founders, scientists, thought leaders, disruptors, and warriors. Here to provide insight into what differently able children can become, given the right environment, teachers, and parenting. Because just asking the right questions and listening to what our children need can turn real challenges into superpowers that can change their world. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Show Your Superpower series on Wednesday. Gosh, if ever there was a time we needed a conversation like this, it's right now. My name is Philippa Fabry. I'm an education consultant with a strong desire and passion to help parents and their children who are struggling in some way or another. And if it's a problem with learning or coping at school, making and keeping friends, understanding their own challenges, but also what gifts and talents they've been given, so that we can demystify the mystery around disabilities, disorders, and diagnoses to create a more tolerant and accepting society for ourselves and for others. So tonight is something really special. With everything that's happening in our country at the moment, which is extremely sad and very unsettling, we need our community more than ever. Please can I ask you before we get going to share this with somebody who you think might need it. Let us reach out, let us share with others who might be hurting, who might be struggling with their own storm, and invite them into our circle. Let's put our arms around everyone and give everyone who is watching a virtual hug right now. The what, why, and how questions are flying around, and we're all trying to understand the situation in South Africa as best that we can, so that when our little people ask us what's going on and why, we have the right answers. The title of tonight's conversation is Parenting Through the Storm. No matter what your storm is, your circumstances are different to the next person. Maybe you have support from a spouse or partner, maybe you don't. Maybe you have support from a parent, maybe you don't. Maybe you have siblings that are close by that can help, and maybe you don't. You might be all alone trying to keep it together for your children. You might be going through a divorce, or you've been through a divorce. You might be losing a loved one or spouse from a terminal illness, or maybe you yourself have had to deal with severe illness and are trying to protect your children from any sadness and anxiety. There's no right way or wrong way. There's only the way that is best for you. And so what do you need, and what support do you have? So as we delve and deep dive into this conversation about parenting through the storm, I'd like to welcome my guest this evening, Cheryl Reynolds. And together we're going to really try and assist parents who are struggling out there, or parents if you just need some support or any kind of encouragement. This is a conversation that you want to stick around for. So Cheryl, welcome onto the platform. Hello. Welcome.
Hi, Philippa. Thanks so much. Wow, what an
Lovely
introduction.
to have you. Hey,
Wow.
I know. If ever there was a right time to have this conversation, it would be now. Let's have a quick look. We've got a couple of comments coming in, and please keep those comments coming. Tell us where you're watching from. This is a conversation for this community. We really want to create a village, a circle of community and support. Lauren, good evening, and Anne, looking forward. Okay, so let's see. Cheryl, let's just start by introducing, well, what do you do? Who are you? Have you always been in PE? Let's go and look at a little bit of a background into Cheryl Reynolds. Who are you and what do you do?
Oh my word. Okay, so I didn't grow up in Port Elizabeth. I grew up in Johannesburg and moved here immediately after matriculate. In fact, the day after my final exam, we moved to PE. So I currently own CRC Communications, marketing consulting, and I'm also co-owner of Good Connections. So my passion is marketing, communications, and branding. That's from a business perspective, that's what I am and what I love. And so what I generally do on a day-to-day basis is work with my clients to develop marketing strategies, to help them implement all their marketing campaigns, digital communications, anything linked to telling the story, basically. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're telling a story.
We're telling a story. And you're a
Yeah.
mom.
Oh, yeah. I'm a mom. I've been a mom I've got 2 biological children and I've had 3 stepchildren. So I've raised 5 children.
Okay. So going back to when you were at school, because this is a conversation really about using your superpowers that you didn't know you had when you were at school and how you're using them now. So when were you at school, or when you were at school, what was your experience of school? Was it good, bad?
Actually, I loved school. Yeah, I really, really loved school. So let's not tell my brothers that we all went to Princess Primary and High School. They're very embarrassed about that in Johannesburg. But anyway, no. So at 10 years old, I was small. I was shy, totally insecure, well behaved. I never really pushed the boundaries. Was raised in a big family. We were 5 children. I'm the second oldest, and I've got loads and loads of cousins, and I just love family. Anyway, but also I loved school. Absolutely loved school. Although I was an introvert and insecure, I really enjoyed the structure and I loved school, to the point that when I matriculated, I begged my parents to let me redo matric so that I could get maybe better marks. But we couldn't afford it, so I needed to move on. But I really did enjoy my schooling.
Okay, so it was a positive experience.
It was. So listen, I mean, I was the average kid. I didn't excel at anything, but I guess it was just family and the environment and the structure.
And you probably found the school suited who you were, suited your personality, and suited what you needed in order to thrive.
Absolutely. Which I found out later in life is not always the case. Yeah.
Okay, there's some comments. Let's go through before we delve into a bit more. Okay, so we've got Anne watching from PE. Hi, Anne. Esme. Cheryl, so very proud of you, Esme.
Oh, that's my cousin.
Mary. Okay, Mary from PE. Hi, Mary. Vizi. Loana. Proud of you, Cheryl. Michelle. Good evening, everyone. Love from PE. Hi, Michelle. Sharon, hello. Watching from Josie. Nice. Nomkelo, I hope I said that right. Yes, Nomkelo, sending love. Jane, hello Jane. Oh, she's watching
from the UK.
Yay. From Chester. And Leanne, hello Leanne, your business partner Cheryl.
Yes.
Sandra's going to be our guest next week. And Facebook user. Hello, Facebook user. Welcome. Good evening. Okay. Right. Okay. So we've got a good crowd this evening. Really, that's awesome. So Cheryl, in my experience with parents over the 28 odd years that I've been in this game, there often comes challenges where parents disagree on things. So let's say a child has a struggle at school or has a particular special need or diagnosis. Often there are disagreements where the one parent might be in denial, or there's a disagreement about what kind of learning approach will best suit the child. And often we've seen marriages fall apart because of the child's needs, often needing to come first. And marriages do tend to struggle, especially if you've got a child with special needs. So, marriages parents need to be a united front in order to give the child, the family unit, the best environment. So what advice or thoughts or advice about that in terms of, spouses, partners not agreeing on what is best, what is the best support for a child or for the children?
Sure, that's a tough one. Hey, so Philippa, first of all, let me just state that so I've been married twice, and I don't claim to know the answers. I've made loads of mistakes, but all I can do is share my experiences in terms of what I've done right, done wrong, and what we did as couples. Okay, you're so right. I mean, I think the critical thing in any marriage, in any family, is that the parents show a united front. Absolutely. We do find that, and I'm generalizing now, but very often it's left to the mom, to the woman, to deal with the schooling issues. But that's just circumstantial, and as I said, I'm generalizing. Okay. So as I said earlier on, I raised 2 kids with my first husband, and then I've raised a blended family of 5 later on. And we tried various things. So the one thing I learned very quickly was that there's no right answer. There's no one school for all the kids. So when Nick and I got married, we had 5 children. We immediately moved into town, bought a house in town so that all the kids, we could be close to the schools. We tried to put all the kids into one school, well, 2, because all the girls, 4 girls into collegiate, 1 boy into grade. But we soon found that didn't work. Every child is different, and every child needs different environment. I mean, my one daughter, who I absolutely love, and I'm so proud of her, she didn't fit into the mainstream schools. The minute I moved her into the Hill College, and I hope it's okay for me to mention that, she just excelled. She suddenly wanted to go to school. She suddenly got incredible marks. And I learned quite early on that there's a different solution for every child, and you need to understand the children. I tried at one stage to have an au pair for my kids. This is when I was mom to 2 children. I was traveling internationally quite a bit, working long hours, and I got criticized for that. Some people said, don't you want to be a mom to your children? Why do you need an au pair? But I found that when I got home from work, I wanted to have quality time with my girls. And the way I did that was by having an au pair who did the homework with them and bathed them. And I missed the most important things, but I got to have quality time with them. So lots of lessons learned through that. And I guess the important thing through all of this is consistency. In fact, my cousin Lena told me that years ago. Consistency is the most important thing as a parent. You need to be consistent in terms of the support, in terms of structure, in terms of discipline, in terms of everything. Yeah. So, there's no right and wrong. It's dependent on the family, it's dependent on the child, it's dependent on circumstances.
Yeah.
I remember
there's so many families today, though, that are blended. And children from different homes sometimes have to come together and be in one home, and then they go and are separated again and then come together again. So it's a completely different dynamic that you're trying to navigate around and provide the most stable, consistent environment as best you can within your resources.
Absolutely. And then, the external factors that they're exposed to are so diverse and so different to when we were children. And one thing I learned, so we can't say that when I was young, this is how I was raised, because everything's so different. Our children are exposed to things that we don't understand. So we have to just be cognizant of that, and we have to focus on each one individually.
Yeah. No, parenting is hard in a normal sort of in a stable environment where things are all going well and there are no external factors that play a part. We know that parenting is hard, and that's why that saying "it takes a village to raise a child" is so true, because how single parents do it on their own without any support, I don't know. I still marvel at the strength of parents that have 2 parents during times of crisis, and you've done that. Do you want to share a little bit about your journey with dealing with a husband, Nick, who was struggling with cancer, and how you tried to sort of manage all that and be a mom and a businesswoman and have your children in school, and how did you manage?
Sure. So let me put into context for the people who are out there and you don't know my previous situation. Nick and I married, I don't remember dates because I blocked it from a coping mechanism perspective, but Nick and I met about 15 years ago. We just got married and we found out that he had brain cancer. He had a brain tumor. The cancer moved to his bones and his spine, and it was a very traumatic time. And just to give you some stats, so Nick had 10 brain surgeries to try and get rid of the tumor in his pituitary gland. He had 36 radiation sessions, and then, listen to this carefully, 53 months of chemo. Now, in between all of that, trying to raise 5 children, it was quite traumatic. In this period, he was paralyzed for a period of time. He lost his sight for a period of time. So, and most of the surgeries and treatment took place in Cape Town. So our kids were in Port Elizabeth, and treatment was taking place in Cape Town. So Nick and I would travel constantly between Cape Town and Port Elizabeth trying to deal with this.
And Cheryl, the age of your kids then during that time?
Sure. So the youngest was around 2 years old, and the oldest about 15. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was tough, but as you said, we had a village. I really relied on my village. We lived on a small holding, which was very far from town. So a few of the things that we did right at the beginning was when we got married, we said, okay, this isn't going to work. We need to put all the kids, as I said, we tried to put all the kids in one school. Didn't work out.
As you do, because it's convenient, and you want to spend as little time on the road as possible, going from school to school,
And listen, I was in Colin Glen, the kids ended up in Pearson. In Port Elizabeth, the 10-minute city, it was not 10 minutes. I would spend 3 hours on the road every day. But I learned to maximize opportunity, So anyway.
Business meetings on the phone on the way to school.
Yeah. So, just a few of the things we did. So we bought the house in town to try and make it a bit easier. The first thing we did was we realized that this was a blended family. There were issues on both sides. I mean, let's not mince words here. It's tough. We're coming from 2 different families. I'll never forget the very first thing I got into trouble for was that I packed my cutlery into the drawers at Nick's place. One of the kids thought that I was trying to throw out their cutlery. I mean, a silly example, but for the kid, that was important. Here's this woman coming into their lives, being a mom, and thinking that her cutlery might be a bit better. But for the kid, that was really sad, and he felt like he was losing a bit of home. Anyway, silly example, but that was big. And we must never underestimate how big these issues are for the children. Yeah. So just a few things. So the first thing we did was we sent all the kids to a psychologist. We realized that let's just check that they're okay. What issues do we need to look out for? And that really did help a lot in terms of just checking that the kids are going to be okay. We also, so I'm a control freak, and my friends all know that. So I realized that my children needed structure. All 5 of them. And I learned that over the years, that structure is one of the most critical things. It makes a child feel safe. I'm not an expert. You're the expert, Philippa, so you'll be able to tell me. But I mean, to the degree that on my fridge, I had color-coordinated charts and schedules on what child had what after-school activity, what the chores were. Any little thing was on a chart, color-coordinated on my fridge. So the kids knew whatever was happening, they could go to the fridge and have a look what was happening in their day. Now, it may seem silly, but for us, that really did help a lot.
No, that's not silly at all, because that provides that visual structure that otherwise wouldn't exist. It would be in your head and in nobody else's agenda. It's only yours, no one else's.
Absolutely. And in terms and discipline as well. I mean, children need that discipline just to know that they're safe. It really does make a difference. Another thing is talking. So, I mean, when we were at the farm in Colin Glen, I used the time, the 3 hours in the car, to talk, just to listen to the children, listen to what they were saying. And no, I didn't always get it right, but I tried my best to make sure that I was listening and hearing what they're trying to tell you. Another thing I was very strict on, and caused a bit of conflict sometimes, but that we always had dinner together as a family. There were no phones at our dining room table. We all had dinner in the dining room together, and because that's where you catch up. I mean, our lives are so busy. Nick and I both had high-powered jobs. We were both traveling internationally. You need to keep in contact and know, okay, what happened in your day today and what's happening in your day tomorrow. And the way to do that was at the dinner table, to make sure that the 7 of us knew what was happening in each other's lives. So that was really important. Yeah.
And then in terms of your support for yourself emotionally, you spoke about providing the counseling for your kids. What support did you have as the mom and as the caregiver for Nick?
Sure. So I have a tribe. I have a bunch of girlfriends that are so close to me, and family, cousins. I mean, I have so much love for family and friends, and that really kept me going. And you know what it's like? I mean, girlfriends will always say to your friends, will say, "I'm there for you. Shout if you need help." I'll never forget the one day I really just needed helping somebody fetching my kid from school. One of the kids, one of the five. And I phoned somebody who was the CEO of a company. She was the only one I could think of at the time. I said, "Can you please fetch my child from school?" She literally left her meeting and went to fetch my child from school. That's what friends do for each other. And when we're in a tough situation, we often we think it's not important enough. But if somebody offers you help, accept it. So I had to learn.
But
It was very
we are
tough for me
so
as well.
bad. We are so bad at asking for help because we
Exactly.
think it's a sign of weakness, and I don't want to show that I'm not strong or I'm not coping.
No,
So
absolutely.
it's to
And,
shift.
and if somebody offers you the help, and very often I've learned over the years, is that people feel good if they help you. So don't feel like you're needy. Don't feel like you're a burden on somebody. People like to help as well. So accept the help and yeah, and let it make your situation a bit easier.
Yeah. I think when things are going pear-shaped, the only way to cope sometimes is to offer to help someone else. No matter
Absolutely.
how bad things are going with you, when you just turn your perspective onto somebody else, then all of a sudden you get distracted by their needs and you don't stress
Absolutely.
and worry too much about your own, if that's
Yes.
possible, you know.
Yes. No,
Let's
absolutely.
have a look at some comments there. Anne, she says, I have 3 adopted children, 3 stepchildren, and then one of my own. So blessed. And through all this, I just put them first. I can write a book. Each one is unique, and there's no rule book or troubleshooting page to turn to. Exactly. Yeah. I think it's you got to look at your situation and you got to do what's best for yours. Lauren, us new moms are always looking for that how to parent book. Oh, there's loads, but there isn't the one that's going to suit you. That I can
No,
promise you. You're going to
no.
write your own.
Yeah.
It's so
You know,
nice. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. So through I mean, we had a tough journey. Okay, I mean, 10 years of Nick's battling, really battling with cancer, and we made many mistakes along the way. I think we did a lot of good as well, though. But Nick's wish was that we would write a book about the experiences, and I don't have the guts to do that. But that's why I'm so happy that you're having me on tonight, because just to be able to share a little bit of what we learned through really hard times, I think is really good. So,
One question that I had, Cheryl, is how much did you shield from your kids? I mean, how much did you share with them about what was going on? And so is
yeah.
honesty the best policy? You know, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, to be honest, how much to share.
So this is where I personally think we made a mistake. Nick was very strict in that he didn't want the kids to know too much, and wanted to protect them from situations. I mean, it was really tough. But in hindsight, I wish we'd shared more. I think it would have helped the kids to deal with the situations. I think, and I've spoken to my kids in knowing that I was going to be in your show tonight, and one of my girls said to me she actually respected the fact that I told her certain things, and we must never underestimate children. They're exposed to so much, and they can actually deal with things. So I do wish we'd actually shared more. We tried to shield them from a lot of the stuff, but I do wish we'd shared more. Yeah, and for example,
at what point?
well, like, so through the process, I mean, I lost my father, which was really tough as well. And I didn't want my children to go to his funeral. And somebody said to me, they actually need that for closure. And I'm so glad I let them go. Yeah. And my daughter Courtney said to me, Mom, every child is different. And you have to look at each child and decide. So maybe one of the kids shouldn't be going. Maybe you need to, and maybe you need to communicate differently to each child. because they all have they have different experiences, they have different skill sets, they have different emotional competencies. So you actually, and that's where it's tough to be a parent, because you have to make sure you're taking each child's whole circumstances into consideration.
Yeah. There's
And
never
especially
one
now with
size fits
COVID,
all.
Philippa. Yeah, with COVID now, I mean, so my kids went through divorce, they went through death, they went through so many traumatic experiences. And now the children are going through COVID and not being connected to the people they're used to being connected to. So we really, really need to be keeping those little people's concerns in our mind.
Yeah. Mary says you only really learn to ask for and accept help when you go through a trying time. And then in return, struggling to read, to offer give help when someone else is going through a trying time, because you know how much it meant when you needed it. So 100% I agree with
Oh,
that.
absolutely. And you know what? When you're going through the tough times, you often ask why and you wonder why. But when you are then able to give back, you have a better understanding of why you went through it.
Yeah. Nobody would have prepared us to go through a pandemic, you know?
No,
Whereas
no.
we've all had to deal with death as at some point in our lives, whether it's a pet or a partner or a parent or somebody, you know, that is sort of something that is around us often, but not a pandemic like this that is all affecting, all consuming, and wherever you look and wherever you go, it's there. You can't escape it. Jane was saying you and Jane need to write the book about step parenting.
Oh, I actually got the first chapter done, Jane, but that's it.
That's a step more than most people.
Listen,
So
the
well
other
done.
lesson I've learned is that some people prefer to keep things private. So I'm very open. I'm very happy to share my experiences. In fact, I feel like I have a responsibility to share so that somebody learns from the mistakes I've made and from the successes as well. But not everybody's like that. So we also just need to be cognizant of that and respect everybody's wishes.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
VZ saying, I wish you could write a book. It would be the bestseller. It would help so many people. Your strength is astonishing.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much.
That's
Yeah.
true. You don't realize your strength until you need it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we surprise ourselves at how strong we are. Tracy says, you're such a brave, wise lady. Thanks,
Oh, thanks
Tracy.
so much.
That's very sweet. Yeah. All these comments are actually, you know, we don't realize half of what other people, you know, go through on a day-to-day basis. And I think when we do speak about it on Facebook or, you know, on our channels, whatever those channels are, then you realize you're not alone. You know, you talk about
Absolutely.
it, you realize that other people are going through something similar, if not the same.
And it's so important. Look, I've watched the other series that you've done. I think this is number 4. And each one of them has had such a strong message. And so I really love what you're doing, because it's so important to share. And this is what we're
Yeah.
doing, we're sharing.
Well, that's the whole thing. You know, we've all got superpowers. It's just that we need to understand and we need to know what those are. And even as parents, you might think, well, I don't know what, you know, what I'm good at. I don't know what my superpower is. I don't know what my gift and talent is. But just wait. Go through a trial. Go through a challenging time, and you will rise, and that superpower will rise. And you'll never say you don't have a superpower anymore, because of that Landy. As a single parent of 3, Cheryl has always been my motivation to push on, and that anything is possible. That's Landy.
You're going to make me
The
cry,
next one.
Andy.
And Paula, dealing with current stress, COVID working, and now writes, I'm trying to explain to my 5-year-old what's going on in the world without scaring her, and explaining why she can't go to parties and play with friends. Plus, also not safe like we were in our youth, trying to explain without scaring. That's actually something that somebody mentioned to me the other day as well, is when your child says, you know, why did God allow COVID to happen? You know, why is it there? You know, and do you, how do you justify to a 5-year-old, as Paula's saying, to a 5-year-old, what do you say? You don't want to scare. You also want to be honest. You don't want to shield. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very scary. I think what you said though is communicate, and just allow them to speak and listen.
And age appropriate. So, because all of them are different. So a 5-year-old's not going to understand the depth of COVID. They're not going to. So it's my go-to thing for myself, because we're all battling. I mean, I'm battling. I'm hating this. I'm hating not having contact with people. And I keep reminding myself, my grandparents went through a war where people were bombed in the house next door to them. And no, you can't compare anything. But I just to try and put things into context. And I go, okay, so now based on that, with each person who's concerned, how do we communicate to them? And really, the biggest thing is to make sure that that child knows that they're loved and that they're safe with you. And that, yes, there's bad stuff going on out there, but they've always got you. I think that's the biggest thing. The kids are so scared. Somebody said to me the other day, "Oh no, it was online." So I'm just trying to learn as much as I possibly can at the moment. I'm online all day. I'm trying to go to webinars and read articles. And the kids are so scared that everybody around them is dying, and it's making it reality for them that their parents can die, that they can die. I mean, this is scary, especially for a kid. So we just need to explain it all to them. We need to, and as I said, in an age-appropriate way. It's different for every child.
Yeah, but I think what you've said there is key. And if we go away from tonight's conversation with only that, it's that there's stuff going on that's beyond your control. And we need to realize that. But in our home, under our roof, that is what we can control. Whatever that means, whether it's color coding things and whether it's going through and making sure all your cupboards are neat and tidy, and then you know where everything is. And it's what you need to do to create that sense of control, so that when you are at home, it's your safe space. We all have a safe space. Even in my home, my room, my bedroom is my happy place. That is where I've created this sense of calm. I have my sort of my reminders of my folks. They've also both gone. I've got places where my yoga area is also in my room. That is, I've got a view. It's got my things, my things. So I'm sure you've got your safe space at home as well. That is your anchor,
Well, of course, so. And we need to find the safe place of all the person in our home and all that's close to us, and just help them and encourage them to keep going back to that safe place. So mine is
even if it's in your mind.
No, absolutely.
Even if it's in your mind, mentally,
Absolutely. I think the COVID journey. So I've lost a lot of close people to me to COVID. I mean, in the last year, I've been to 7 funerals since lockdown. I mean, that's just horrible. But and I don't even know where I was going. I've lost the plot now. But that's just the way it is.
Safe space. No, just even having a safe space in your where you go to in your mind. If you can't so that's physically.
Thanks, Philip. But that's where I was going, is that but the one thing I've realized through all of this as well is that COVID is very much, but besides the fact that it's very much a physical journey, it's also a mental journey. And you have to be so strong emotionally. It's the most critical thing. Whether you've got COVID or whether you have a family member who's got COVID. And just the mental strength is so important.
We've had, when we first went back to school after lockdown and Elson Academy was going back to campus, we were amazed at how the kids were embracing the new normal with the masks and the social distancing. And we were incredibly grateful that the parents had prepared them so well. And, we also fed information home about videos. We had little videos that we produced on campus showing the kids how they were going to line up in the morning, the new rules and the new regulations. It's about preparation, preparing them for this new normal. And I think that is key, is no matter how little they are, they can be prepared in the right way, and they will surprise us often because they don't have other things to compare it to, really. I mean, we've got 40, 50 odd years of normal that we've got to now relearn, whereas they don't, and they just bounce back
And
incredibly.
we forget that children are resilient. They are so resilient. So
Yes.
give them the respect they deserve. And that's what Courtney's taught me as well, is
Yeah.
don't underestimate me. Communicate to me as much as you possibly can in whatever way you can, but then trust me and let me work through this. That's also important.
Yeah, yeah. Sandra's talking about how important it is to share our experiences. Some people just need that word of encouragement and know they're not alone, especially the D's, death, divorce, debt, and disease. Yeah, 100%.
You are never alone, never. And even if you use, I'm big on social media. One, the reason I started on social media was when Nick was so ill, I was often stuck at the farm, not stuck, but looking after him, really not exposed to people. And I'm a people's person. So I used social media to connect with everybody outside of this little bubble I was living in. And I've continued to do so. And it's my business now as well. So, but use it. Use these platforms to get the support that you need, to just share and to learn from others. And don't be embarrassed. I mean, I've been judged so many times, and I've gotten to the point where I go, do you know what? This is what works for me. If you don't like it, move on. Just unfriend me or whatever you want to do. But use whatever you need to use in these tough times.
Yeah, 100%. So Cheryl, what would you say then, coming out of the rising above the challenges that you went through, superpowers? What would you say what are your superpowers?
Sure, that's tough. That's tough. I mean,
I bet your friends could tell you.
Oh, I'm sure they could, but it's difficult
And your family.
for us. But so if I had to, tell you as what I think it could be, it's probably caring and nurturing. In terms of, so I was raised in I had a tough upbringing with alcoholism and depression and all those kind of things in the home. My parents got over it, which is awesome, and I love them to bits. But I've always just wanted to care for people and just make people know that everything's going to be okay. And so I think my superpower is probably the caring and nurturing. I hope it is.
And compassion.
I hope so, yeah.
Wendy's saying, I was a single parent, but had such a loving support system from my parents. But in 1 year, I lost my job, lost my mom, my fiance left me. Shame, Wendy. And then lost my dad. It was so tough. But Gino, go back. But what got me through it was realizing I needed to be strong as my son needed me. Yeah.
There's a reason, there's purpose. And our children need us so much. I mean, our friends need us. There's purpose for every single person on this earth.
So then, Cheryl, when you left school, let's just go through Sharon's one quickly. I've known Cheryl since we were 19 from Technicon days. You've always been a superstar, driven a beacon of light to lots of peeps, always time for others around you. And through all the hardships we have both had over the years, you have found positive words and ways to share. And the most amazing mom to your kids, superwoman. You have sewn your own cape. Yes, you make masks. I see you sewing masks like it's coming out of.
I know. So can I tell you, there's a selfish reason for me making masks, is that my daughter is a school teacher and she teaches at a school that is, a lot of the children can't afford masks. So during lockdown, I've been sewing like crazy so that all of the children in her school have masks. And it's a selfish thing because I want to protect my daughter, but I'm going to protect all those around her as well.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
And I'm not good at it, but
how many have you done?
Probably about 200.
Goodness.
I literally have a production line going on my dining room table.
Wow, what a star. What a star.
Thanks.
Christelle, Cheryl saying just continues to do and give love and care through all she's going through. Yeah. Your superpower is definitely love. Sounds cliche, but so true because it is a blanket for care, compassion, nurturing, etc. That's from VZ.
That's real.
Real. And Leanne, Cheryl, you are one of the most generous people I know. Yeah, you see, that is it. That compassion, you give and you get back. The more you give, the more you get back.
But you know what? So, I mean, this isn't about me. This is about the children. But I think there's a lesson here tonight, Philippa, is that we all need support. And if we're there for each other, that is the most important thing. And don't think anybody doesn't need it. The strongest people, the people who you think are strong are actually not, and they just need your support.
Yeah.
And as you said, there's no manual. We have these babies, and there's no manual. So we need to help each other through it.
Yeah, there's definitely no book as how to parent through a pandemic. Or maybe there is one. Maybe there is one. We just haven't found it.
That's your job.
Yeah, I'll have to research that one. Landy says, superpower. Cheryl is Wonder Woman, Superwoman in one. Cheryl supported me through 2 divorces. My kid's dad, then his death. Friends since 1990. Forever friends. Best support in my life, Landy. From Landy. And Nomkelo, Cheryl is one of the most resilient women I know. She always bounces back. One very inspiring person who has not lost the essence of who she is despite all the challenges. And Casey, Casey. Oh, I love you, Mom. You're super strong. And Michelle, support, caring, and kindness. There we go. Support, caring, and kindness. And did you say Vuyo?
Vuyo, yes.
Vuyo. I love that the people you think are strong are actually not so true. Or actually not so true. Yeah. And there's Courtney also, super mom.
Oh, I love my kids so much. Oh.
You see, and they feel it and they're giving you back. They're giving it back, 100%.
Thanks.
So Cheryl, what advice, I suppose we're nearing the end now. I mean, this we really did want to do this for parents out there. And like I said right at the beginning, everybody's going through a storm. They're going through the storm. It's different storms, different circumstances, but we all, there are going to be those times that it's really, really tough, regardless of what that might be, whether it's going through a divorce, whether it's going through severe and terminal illness. What advice, and we've touched on quite a few things, but if you had to, advice for parents who are struggling at the moment.
Okay, so I think listen to what your kids are trying to tell you rather than what they are telling you. So listen to the deeper meaning in what they're doing and watch actions. I mean, years and years and years ago, I made sure I was friends with my kids on Mixit and WhatsApp, all of that, so I could stalk them, but just to know what they were going through. Because they won't tell us. They tell us in such different ways. So listen to what your child's trying to tell you. I think that's my biggest one. And quality time versus quantity. And then also consistency. Consistency in so many different things, in terms of structure, in terms of discipline, in terms of love. Just consistency.
Sometimes kids withdraw when they are going through their own trials. And it's sometimes so difficult to reach them because they withdraw into themselves and they put on this front that, no, I'm cool, I'm chilled, everything is fine. But there's a whole storm going underneath the surface. And I find that incredibly difficult. I mean, boys are very different to girls. I think girls are more verbal. Girls will talk more. Girls will openly have meltdowns and cry and show those emotions. Well, I'm probably generalizing here too as well, but there's definitely a difference, boys and girls.
Oh, absolutely. And we have to realize that, and we also have to realize that we don't understand what our children are going through. We grew up in very different times to what our kids are growing up, and we're exposed to all this communication and media, but we're adults. And our children are exposed to it and they're not equipped the way we are. So, and yes, boys, I've got a quick funny story to tell you. My stepson, I had 4 girls and 1 boy. Love him to bits, but I learned very quickly that boys are very different to girls. And I won't tell the stories because it would embarrass. But we have to just accept that everybody is so different. And we don't know. We don't know. So
and it's okay to say that as well. It's okay to say, I don't actually know. And it's also okay to say, I'm not actually coping now, but I'll be okay.
Yes.
I need a hug now.
Yes.
And, or this is what I need now. I need space now, or I need a hug now, or, and whatever. Say what you need.
I think honesty, but as I said earlier, age appropriate. So honesty as they can handle it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I missed a comment there. Paula was saying, the problem I find and feel guilty losing so much precious time lost with my darling daughter, just coping with busy work, running home and dealing with what life throws during. Listen, that is bottom line. I think that is what we're all trying to cope with.
And I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but so I tend to explain to my kids what I'm going through, and I go, listen, I'm really battling today. This is what it is, and I think it's maybe because my kids are older now that I can do that. But don't do it alone, and don't try and protect them completely from it. Let them be part of the process and let them help you. As we said, I mean, kids are so resilient and they're actually so much stronger than we think. So let's try and work through these tough times together.
And they can also provide support.
Of course.
No matter how old they are. LCB, love, care, gentleness, kindness, and a listening ear with a massive sense of humor. Those are Cheryl's superpowers. Family is always first. She's incredibly involved in her girls' and family lives. I admire you, my friend. From LZB. Anne says, Cheryl, don't forget to give yourself love. There's advice from Anne and Candace. So inspirational. My aunt, thank you for sharing. We love you so much. You are so loved, Cheryl. You said you've got a big family. Hey,
I do.
Family.
I think half of PE is my family.
Are great. Yeah, what would we do without big families? It takes a village.
You know what it is as well, Philip, is just I enjoy being with people. I enjoy, I mean, we obviously have tough times, but just be with as many people as you can and just be there for people.
Michelle, what is that comment? I missed that one. Support, sharing, kindness. Those are your superpowers. See, your friends know. Your friends and family know. So, Cheryl, let's sum up. So, when you left school, you said you enjoyed school, you left school. Did you know what you wanted to do straight away? Did you know immediately? I mean, what you're doing now and what you studied?
So different. So different. So, no, I wanted to be either a teacher or a fashion designer. Neither of them worked out.
Oh, but you're doing masks. You're making masks.
So, and when I arrived in PE after matriculation, went to the PE Technicon, and the most awesome guy, the marketing director at the time, said to me, listen, go into a secretarial course. And I did that, but you know what? My goal was to be secretary to the state president. And because and I ended up shaking Nelson Mandela's hand one day, but I never got to work for him. But I'm very happy in what I'm doing now. So that's awesome. Yeah. And you know what it is? It's just about, no, we don't. When we leave school, very often we don't know what we want to do. It's just about working hard constantly and, figuring out what it is that you enjoy.
And out of the pandemic, you created a new business.
I did. Good connections. So one of my passions is connecting, connecting people. And so Leanne Bennett and I have created a business called Good Connections, where we have either face-to-face events or online events where we connect people in business. And people of different ages, of different industries. We just want to connect people and help. Because I also believe that we all deserve to win. We all deserve to succeed. And so let's help each other. And that's what Good Connections is about. It's about connecting people and helping everybody to succeed.
And you got a Facebook page where people can find you?
Good Connections, as easy as that.
Okay. And obviously events now, I know you've had a few. When is the next one? Or is that, can people find that on your page?
We've actually just launched it. It's going to be on the 29th. I'm terrible with numbers, but anyway. But it's an online event. Go to Good Connections. And it's going to be online, unfortunately. But we're going to find ways to teach people how to network online.
Great.
I mean, how much fun can that be? It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. They don't teach you that either, in how to
No,
use
well,
all the technologies. I don't know what I
but
would
you're
do
an
without
expert, by
my
the way.
I don't know what I would do without my helper. It's not great doing it on your own, I can promise you that. But yeah, we need to connect. PE is a great
Yes,
place for building
yes.
relationships, including business relationships. I mean, what's the first thing we do if we're looking for a good plumber or a good builder or a good pediatrician? We ask our connections, right? And we
Absolutely,
want
absolutely.
good referrals.
And you know what? And let's
So
just help
that's
each other. Let's make sure we all succeed. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So my
Everybody needs
motto
a
in
foot
life,
up.
my motto is to be kind. And that's what I want. That's the legacy I want to leave, is to be kind. And so let's, and I mean, P is the most amazing place for that. Or how do we say it now? Opega. I finally learned how to click, by the way. Opega.
I'm not going to try. But yeah, I still don't know how to spell it.
No, me
So
neither.
I'll have to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
But Cheryl, let's finish off with some comments. Angela, often look at the incredible children I have, and guilt can seep in. Oh, I have, and guilt can seep in, but I very quickly block it out and relook. That's when I see they're amazing and know I did as best. I did the best as their mom. That's from Angela. And Michelle, it's always reassuring to know that one is not alone. Thank you so much for sharing your life story. A reminder to never give up. Yes. Roseanne, P is great for networking. Yes. Tanya, good connections is exactly that. Good connection.
Ah.
Yes. You're always so kind. Ha ha at Rebecca. Did I say that?
Well done,
Rebecca.
Flipper.
It's at the top.
Yeah.
Rebecca. Yeah. And Chantal, this was such an enlightening conversation. Thanks for sharing your story, Cheryl. Really inspiring. Awesome. Well, yeah, all that's left for me to say is thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been such a pleasure, and it's been amazing. You and I have kind of parented together. We used to bump into each other at hockey matches. Whenever your kids were playing Pearson on the Astro, mine was maybe playing someone else on the Astro, and we used to bump into each other. And it's been, we've kind of always known about each other, and through Business Women's Association, you've always been there. You've always been one of those inspiring business mentors that we can look up to and learn from, and even more so as a mom and as somebody who has risen above, and their superpower is just incredible. And something that you can't, it's not something that you learn, it's something that you are born with. And those trials and tribulations that you've been through have allowed that superpower to rise and surround you with. And people have benefited from them. So it's been such a pleasure. It's been absolute pleasure and a real privilege. One more comment. It's called the CQ. Roseanne.
GQ.
GQ.
Like GQ magazine.
Oh, GQ. GQ. Okay. Thanks, Roseanne. And Angela, loved this chat. Jane, well done, both of you. Great conversation. Thank you for watching, Jane, all the way from Chester. And Renelle, thank you for sharing your story. You always inspire. Keep to who you are. You're amazing. And VZ, Vuyu. Such beautiful and strong woman, you two. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Cheryl, thank you so much. And I will see you anon. I will see you anon. Have a great evening.
Well, thank you.
Cheers. And guys, as we finish off, just a few more exciting news to tell you. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, there is a masterclass for teachers that I'm doing. So if there are any teachers watching, please get hold of me. My email address is on the screen. They can just WhatsApp me or email me if they would like to be part of my masterclass tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. It is called The Inclusive Classroom. It's a special masterclass for teachers. And then next Wednesday at 8 p.m., Show Your Superpower series, chat 5. I'm going to be interviewing Sandra Fraser. We're going to be talking about Fragile X syndrome. It is I think the 22nd is Fragile X Awareness Day. And there's an international event that Sandra's going to be speaking at. And so we are going to be finding out a little bit more about Fragile X syndrome. I think there's a picture that is going to pop up on the screen just so that you can see. There's Fragile X syndrome on Facebook, the World Fragile X Day. It is on the 22nd of July. So you'll be seeing a little bit more about that on social media. And my interview with Sandra will be on the 21st, so just the day before. And then I'm also doing a special masterclass for parents in August. And the topic there is if the effort doesn't match the results, how to get support and intervention for your children or for your child. So please, if you are interested in that masterclass in August, again, you just need to WhatsApp or email me and I can send you that information. When the results don't match the effort, how to get support and intervention for your children. And on that note, Angela, what platform is this? Joined using Cheryl Porter Reynolds feed. Angela, this is Philippa Fabry Education Consultant. You can search for me on Facebook, also YouTube, if you'd like to see more of these. These are weekly at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. So you are more than welcome to watch every week. It'd be lovely to have you. On that note, I'm going to say good night. And thank you so much for tuning in, and God bless. Goodbye. Not wanting to end.